Good afternoon, a nice August afternoon with lots of heat and humidity. No surprise, but we are in the kind of middle of the summer at this point where we're seeing our highest average temperatures. So if we can get through maybe the next month or two, we'll be looking at some cooling down eventually, but not so far. Temperatures right now 92 for many of our metro area spots and feels like temperatures close to 105 in the city and 106 actually reported right now at Belle Chase. As I pointed out, there is not a lot showing up on live radar at this point. A small shower right along the coast south of Houma, and that's about it so far. But later today, we could have a flare-up of a few downpours, just about what you'd expect at this point in the year with so much heat of the daytime kind of hours fueling some of these pop-up showers and storms. So notice our model by 3 p.m. does have some thunderstorms developing. A few of these might bring some brief heavy rain to the spots over which they are, and then by 6 p.m. a lot of this will probably be already calming down. This model hints at a few storms crossing into some of Mississippi coastal spots later on tonight. Overnight looks pretty quiet, and then through tomorrow, this is our forecast model with our high resolution model by noon tomorrow. Maybe a similar setup with our highs probably 94, 95 again, and our feels like temperatures close to 105, and maybe not so much rain early in the day, but as we get toward the late afternoon, early evening, here are some of those downpours developing, and we've been talking about our rain chance going up just a little bit, a slightly higher likelihood of some of these afternoon downpours as we get toward Thursday and Friday. Today, though, steamy, some storms, highs about 95, the average is 92, and then tonight 70s, and we do have the Perseid meteor shower peaking the next few nights, so if you want to go outside around 11 o'clock or so, that might be a good time to see some of those shooting stars. We will have mostly clear skies for most spots tonight, but we might have some moonlight eventually to contend with. So just something there if you're interested in astronomy and those meteor showers. We were talking also, of course, about the tropics. Here's an area that we're watching with a really high chance now from the National Hurricane Center to become a depression soon. So this is happening kind of as we speak. We're beginning to see a low pressure center beginning to form. This is our visible satellite and infrared satellite both layered right here, and you can see a little bit of some sort of swirling and low pressure kind of centralizing here. So we will see if this becomes a tropical depression maybe even later today. Notice that the forecast models are bringing it a little farther to the north of the kind of northern end of the Caribbean Sea, and many of them have it curving off to the north. And something else we've been talking about is wind shear and some dry air that it will contend with as it gets into this general area. So we will see whether it can, if it does develop, sustain its strength or not, but it doesn't look like a threat for us at this point. Of course, it's a long way out and we will certainly track it. A lot of questions I get, by the way, this time of year are about hurricane names, so I did want to talk about that briefly. If this one were to be named as a tropical storm, it would be the J storm, the 10th Josephine, and notice the rest of the year, the after Isaias, that kind of hard to pronounce one, the rest are pretty manageable, I think, as far as pronouncing it. A few more details on hurricane names. They were really come up with to make it easy to identify and especially warn people, particularly in an active part of the season where there are a bunch of storms out there and it gets more difficult to say which one you're talking about. There are 6 lists of names recycled every 6 years. They're maintained by the World Meteorological Organization. They all started in 1953 when all the names were female, and in 1979, male names were introduced and alternated male and female since then. So each list has 21 names. None of these letters are included because names are a little more uncommon, starting with those letters. Names are retired, of course, for deadly or costly storms, and there have been dozens of those that have been retired since the 50s. None were retired for last year's season because the World Meteorological Organization's meeting this year in the spring was canceled due to COVID. And if there are more than 21, remember the Greek alphabet that we used in 2005 would be used. The NOAA forecast calls this year for us to get to Delta, and in 2005, remember, we got to Zeta. Our 7-day forecast is showing our temperatures going down a little bit toward the end of the week as those rain chances go up a bit.
We don't like to talk about 2005, Alexandra. All right, still ahead on Eyewitness News at noon. COVID cases and hospitalizations are on the decline nationwide. More on the latest in the U.S. fight against COVID-19.